Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
The energy was evident in your Rangers' first home game post-All-Star break. They treated a lively Globe Life Park crowd to a well-played win against the West-leading Oakland A's. It was great to see the timely hits and the strong pitching, as well as the enthusiasm they've displayed since the second half began last week. Nick Tepish gets the start in Game 2. The A's coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT Hughes TV. Well, the triple digits have arrived in force here at Globe Life Park. Rangers heated things up last night. They look to do the same tonight in Game 2 of this three-game weekend series against the Oakland A's. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Green, Steve Buster. Glad you could join us for a great Saturday night for Ranger baseball. And Rangers coming off an outstanding performance last night by Jerome Williams, coming out of nowhere. His first outing for the Rangers, he shut the A's down. Rangers are looking for the same kind of performance tonight from Nick Tepish, Tom.
Well, you know, Buzz, the ability is there. And when we talk about development over the last couple of months of the season, when you talk about Nick Tepish, you want to see development, you want to see more consistency. He's had 4 or 5 excellent starts. He's had 4 or 5 where he struggled a little bit. At home this season, he's pitched very well. He's only had 4 home starts, but his ERA is .360. He's also pitched very well at night. So this is a night game at home. Nick has pitched some really good games. Hopefully this will be another one for him tonight.
And we'll see if Nick can take a page out of Jerome Williams' book and tune up a dandy here tonight in the second game of this 3-game series. So the Rangers taking on the division-leading A's. We will have the starting lineup to the first pitch for you coming up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. By AT UVerse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. A beautiful clear sky overhead tonight, Globe Life Park. Nick Teppich getting set to begin things here this evening. Before we get underway, let's send it down the field. Aaron Hardigan is standing by. Aaron.
Thanks, Buzz. Rangers and fans alike agreed that last night's win was a much-needed way to return to Globe Life Park after the All-Star break. And while Ron Washington credited the victory to his team's ability to capitalize on opportunities created, what else was it? What else was visibly different that allowed his team to come out on top against the hottest club in baseball? And what would he like to see carried over into tonight? Skipper detailed a bit further.
It was pitching last night because we only allowed those guys one run. Yes, we put up 4, but we're going to put up some runs. But when the pitching can hold an offense down like Jerome Williams and Mendez and Kotz and Nefta coming in saving it last night, the way they did it, that's what it takes.
Now, the only factor of success he seemed to leave out there was himself. We'll actually talk about that much later on the broadcast. For now, it starts with Nick Teppich. He looks to build on that nice resume here at home, guys.
All right, Aaron, thank you. So the 25-year-old right-hander Nick Teppich out there tonight, and we will take a look at the Oakland A's batting order that he will face as put forth by Bob Melvin. It all starts with Coco Crisp tonight. He's in center. John Jaso catches. Yoenis Cespedes is in left. Brandon Moss bats cleanup. He's playing at first. Josh Donaldson at third. Stephen Vogt is the DH. Josh Reddick bats seventh, plays right. Nick Punto going to start at short, and Eric Sogard bats ninth and plays second base. And the first pitch of the evening to Coco Crisp is low and inside for ball one.
Look at our Sonic scouting report for Nick Teppich. 3-6 in 12 games this year. 11 of them starts. 6+ innings in 3 of his 4 home starts and a .360 ERA at home. He's pitched very well in 4 home starts. Opponent's average at home is only .234 on the road. It's .306. Nick has pitched well at home. He's pitched well at night. So the circumstances are in his favor tonight.
He has fallen behind Coco Crisp at 2 balls and no strikes. Crisp, a .278 average. And the next pitch is lofted to medium left field. Shading his eyes, Jim Meducci there to make the grab. And out number 1 as Crisp flies out to get things underway. Now let's take a look at the Rangers defense delivered to you by Chicken Express. Saw Jim Meducci out in left field. He's joined by Leonis Martin in center. Alex Rios is in right. J.P. Arancibia at first. Ruben Odor and Elvis Andrews up the middle. Adrian Beltre at third. Robinson Chirinos once again is handling the catching chores tonight. Ruben Odor just 1 error in his 31 games at second base. Jaso, first ball swinging, and he hits a very convenient 2-hopper. Down to J.P. Arancibia on to first, out number 2.
Take a look at the fly ball to left field. Last night we saw Brandon Moss really struggle with what really wasn't a fly ball. It was more of a soft line drive. That was a fly ball. Not to say it was a simple catch into the sun for Jim, but it was much easier than the line drive because the ball goes up above the sun, and while you're distracted by the sun, you can see the ball. It's not directly in the sun like the ball that Chu hit leading off the Rangers' bottom of the first last night.
That shot you got from our RF camera up on top of the lower section in left field. Understand what they're looking into. That huge bright ball of sunlight right over the top of the stands.
Right now, Jim's saying I'm 2/3 of the way through my part of the first inning, and
right.
Hopefully we'll hit for a while. When I come back out here, the sun won't be an issue.
Yoenis Cespedes takes a pitch for a strike, and it is very quickly 0-2. So Nick Teppich, who fell behind Coco Crisp, 2 balls, no strikes, got the fly ball, then a 1 pitch out from Jaso, and now he's gotten ahead 0-2 to Cespedes, who is hitting .254. Teppich back to him. Couldn't get a swing from Cespedes. Good slider down and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cespedes, 16 home runs, 62 RBI, and he has, again, picked things up against the Rangers this year. 321 average. Got him swinging. Pulled the string on the breaking ball, and Nick Tepic has a very quick 1-2-3, 8-pitch first inning. After half inning, Athletics nothing, Rangers. The A's down in order in the top of the first. Now the Rangers come to bat against Sonny Gray. And we'll take a look at the batting order brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Ron Washington has set these 9 out there. Shin-Soo Choo again the DH leading off. Elvis Andrus the shortstop, followed by Alex Rios the right fielder. Adrian Beltre bats cleanup. Jim Aducey in left field hitting fifth. J.P. Arancibia playing at first base. He has 3 home runs in the last week and a day since he came back into the lineup. Leonis Martin, Robinson Chirinos, and Rougned Odor are the final 3 in the Rangers order tonight.
Our Sonic scouting report for Sonny Gray. Tremendous season so far after 20 starts. He's 11-3 with a great 2.72 ERA. That's the 6th best ERA in the American League. He's been virtually untouchable in July, undefeated with an ERA under 1, and he keeps the ball in the ballpark. 1 home run allowed in his last 7 starts. He's only given up 7 all season long. All 7 of his home runs have come with the bases empty.
Sonny Gray, a 24-year-old right-hander, not very big in stature at 5'11". And the pitch to Choo has popped up shallow center, going out. Nick Punto, the shortstop, is there to make the grab. And Choo gets sawed off and will pop out. 1 gone. And we'll take a look now at the rest of the A's defense, brought to you by Progressive tonight. Oakland's outfield has Cespedes, Crisp, and Reddick, left, center, and right. Brandon Moss to start at first. Sogard and Punto up the middle tonight. Josh Donaldson at third. John Jaso is catching. And Sonny Gray, the 24-year-old from Nashville, Tennessee, is on the hill.
Yeah, you're right, Buzz. Sonny Gray doesn't fit the mold as far as what professional scouts look for in a pitcher stature-wise. I think nowadays, if you asked a scout, what's your ideal body type for a pitcher, they'd say probably someone 6'4", 215 pounds. He's under 6 feet tall, under 190 pounds. He was still a very high draft choice out of Vanderbilt. He was the 18th pick in the first round of the 2011 draft. But who knows, if he was 6'4" and 210 pounds, he might have been picked 10 spots higher.
Yeah.
Scouts tend to shy away from slightly built right-handed pitchers, and if any of them actually did that, they missed the boat on this kid.
Yeah.
Because he can pitch.
Well, and don't you think the fact that he went to Vanderbilt, played at the SEC, and against that kind of competition, plus whatever else in the summer that he played, had a big impact on that?
Sure, no doubt about it. I mean, if you prove that you can pitch at the highest level, that's certainly in your favor. I think what they look at is probably durability. They look at someone 6'10", 6'4", 210 pounds as maybe over the course of 162 games and 34 starts and 200 innings as being more durable. I guess time will tell with Sonny Gray. He really hasn't had a chance to prove or disprove that. But based on his body of work after 20 starts, you certainly like what you see.
Elvis, a check swing on that hard breaking ball. And the count is now full. So with one out, Elvis trying to get aboard. He is batting in front of the Ranger right fielder, Alex Rios. Sonny Gray, who last we saw against the Rangers, twirling in a dandy, and misses low and outside for ball 4. Elvis draws the one-out walk. And Jerome Williams, he might have laid out a pretty good blueprint for both Nick Tepish and Miles Michaelis, who's tomorrow's starter against these A's.
Well, you know, both of those guys have similar kind of stuff as Jerome Williams does. The key for both of them, Buzz, is pretty obvious. They have to make the same pitches that he made last night. He used all 4 of his pitches: a sinking fastball, a cut fastball, a changeup, which was very effective for him, and a curveball. And he threw him where he wanted. He kept the ball away from the middle of the plate against the team that scored more runs than anybody else in baseball, and he shut him down.
We talk about execution a lot, and that was evident last night, what he was doing. He had a great game plan. He and Chirinos did a very good job of coming up that, along with Andy Hawkins. But he executed. He executed the pitches that he tried to make, and did not make many mistakes, and didn't have any that were costly for him. 1-0 the count to Alex Rios. Through the hole, a base hit. Elvis to second, stops there. Cespedes gets the ball. And Alex Rios for the first base knock of the evening. Rangers have runners at first and second for Adrian Beltre.
Fastball. His fastball has good movement on it. It's not quite as effective when it's high like that. That one moved in toward the inner half of the plate, but Alex was able to get the good part of the bat on it, spank it right past Josh Donaldson into left field. I mean, you look at the body of work for Sonny Gray this year, it's very hard to find anything negative about this season. One thing he's done extremely well is pick up the team after a loss. 8-1 in 10 starts following an A's loss.
Beltre takes the tailing fastball at the knee for strike 1. And looking back to DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpires, you have to say, wow, if that's a strike, I may be in trouble. Beltre, the 34th multi-hit game of the year last night. 0-1 pitch. A ball and a strike. Adrian had been kind of spinning his wheels offensively of late, but hopefully last night will get things turned around. He's got Elvis at second, Alex Rios at first with one out here in the first. Rangers last night had a good evening as far as hitting with runners in scoring position. That's out of play. 3 for 5 last night. We told you, chronicled the struggles that the ball club had in that particular category of late. Well, of late, the last 2 months, if you want to go back that far. But they've also had problems, not just getting base hits, but getting runners home from third with less than 2 out. Ron Washington looks at that statistic a little bit differently than just the base hits. So, we need to have productive outs when we get the opportunity. Now Gray with the 1-2 pitch coming to Beltre. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Adrian, the team leader with 14 home runs, 54 driven in. Entered play today, 4th in the American League with that .325 batting average. Trying to get the Rangers on the board here in the first inning. In the dirt. And a nice pickup by John Jaso. That runs the count full. So Sonny Gray not as sharp here in the first inning as we have seen him in the past, and Rangers trying to take advantage.
9 of his 15 pitches have been out of the strike zone.
3-2 with 1 out. If Beltre is able to get aboard, that would at least put a couple on for Jim Adduci. He's waiting to be next. Gray set a check of the runners. And now he steps off the back of the pitching rubber. With Andrews and Rios aboard, you might turn them loose on a 3-2 pitch. See what the skipper decided to do. Gray again set. Runners staying put, and the pitch is grounded to short. Good beat two to second. Sogard turns it, and the 6-4-3 double play, and that ends the Ranger threat in the first. No runs a hit. One man left. After one, Rangers nothing, A's nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. FN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. And welcome, and thank you so much for your service. Middle third of the A's order to face Nick Tepesch here in the second inning. The right-hander deals. Moss shoots one fair down the right side. Over to cut it off. Alex Rios holds him to a long single, so Moss first ball swinging, and he dumps one in for the base hit. And with Josh Donaldson coming up, we'll take just a second. Welcome in Jim Knox. Jim.
I appreciate it, Buzz. A lot of Ranger fans here tonight. Rooting the Rangers on. Big Brad celebrating his 40th birthday party. Happy birthday, Brad. Community Corner tonight. Big happenings this Wednesday when the Rangers take on the Yankees before the game, 4:30 through 7:30. A special auction, mystery ball auction held by the Texas Rangers wives. The proceeds will go to the Richard Durant Family Fund. This will take place this Wednesday, 4:30 to 7:30 on the third base concourse. That's around Section 13, so come on out Wednesday and help out the Richard Durant Family Fund. Buzz?
All right, Noxie, thank you. One on, nobody out. Josh Donaldson, the hitter, down on the count, no balls and a strike. Donaldson, the team leader, with 72 runs driven in. Tepesch just a little bit low with that pitch. 1-1.
We're talking about the A's and the All-Star team in last night's game. They had 6 All-Stars. Donaldson was one of them. 4 position players, a couple of pitchers. Bob Melvin has an excellent team to manage, and he does an excellent job of managing them, too.
Pitch foul back. Yeah, sometimes that gets overlooked a little bit with the job that Bob Melvin and his coaching staff have done.
Yeah.
They have taken guys that, well, maybe not cast-offs, but guys that hadn't had a lot of success in some other situations, brought them in here and molded them into a pretty cohesive unit that plays some pretty good baseball. 1-2 the count. Tepesch will drive Moss back with a toss. Donaldson, 21 home runs to go along with those 72 runs driven in.
Donaldson struggled in his last 40 games, although recently he started to pick it up, last 4 or 5 games. But over a pretty long stretch, 25% of the season, he's hitting 185 last 40 games.
Check swing. Jim Wolf, the first base umpire, said no swing. That evens the count at 2-2.
One thing about the A's and their offense, you might have guys struggling, but they've got a bunch of guys that seem to come up with a big 3-run homer when you need it.
Yeah.
Their pitching is so good. All it takes is one key hit in many of the games to turn it around because they shut the other team down so well.
Donaldson turns on one and rifles it foul down the left side. Folks out there battling the sun about 5 rows deep. They came up with it.
The A's do score the most runs, and that wins a lot of ball games for you, but a lot of times those runs come in bunches. You get 10 or 12 runs, and just because you average 5 runs a game doesn't mean you're getting 5 runs every game. The thing that allows them to have the best record in baseball is the pitching. Pitching has been very consistent.
That could be a double play ball to Odor. Turnabout's fair play. Hayes turned a double play in the bottom of the first. Rangers turned one here at the top of the second. Double play number 98 turned by the Ranger defense this year.
In a double play situation, this is pretty much the exact ball you're looking for. A nice big hop right near second base. The runner doesn't have time to disrupt the play. And the batter is an easy out coming back at first base. Doesn't get much more routine than that.
Well, base is empty now. 2 outs for Stephen Vogt, who takes way outside for ball 1. Come out on most days early, and you'll see Rougned Odor in some form of repetition about his play around second base, whether it's underhanding the ball as he just did to Elvis on a double play possibility, going into the hole and setting his feet to throw back to second. Ron Washington and Tim Bogar really schooling the young man and a lot of other players on the finer points of defense. And we've seen it pay off. We've seen Rougned Odor get to the point where he's making some plays that he could not have made 2 months ago. 2-1 the count to Vogt. 261 the average for the left-handed hitter. Started at first base in last night's game. Both, though, handling the DH chores tonight. And Robinson Chirinos going to go out and talk to Nick Tepesch. That was a one-way conversation. That was all Nick Tepesch saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. Robinson, okay. That's really what you want to do. We'll do it. We'll see how it works out.
So who should tell the other one what to do, the pitcher or the catcher?
It's got to be the pitchers.
He's throwing it,
yeah,
right?
That's right. And a lot of times, I don't know this is true for Nick necessarily, but a lot of times pitchers go on feel, how the ball feels to them, how their arm feels to them in that particular pitch, and how that hitter feels to him too. Left center field, Adduci to his left. He lost it for a minute, then regrouped and recovered nicely. Well, the A's gone, no runs a hit. The double play took care of that. A 12-pitch inning for Tepesch, so he is cut. Your photo for a chance to have it shown on one of our upcoming broadcasts. Thanks to the good folks at AT&T. Just use hashtag Southwest Fan Photo, and your photo might be selected to be aired during the season. We will show you our selection a little bit later on tonight. Tonight's telecast. Appreciate all the folks tweeting your photos in. We had some great ones. We hope to get as many on as we possibly can. Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the second. Jim Adduci starting things off against Sonny Gray. Scoreless ball game. Each ball club with a hit. And Gray was a little erratic in the first inning. Misses high for ball one. Adduci at .258 with the average. No home runs. 4 driven in. Jim with the ball club since being activated off the DL on Monday. 1 ball and 1 strike. Infield plays Adduci just about straight away, and the outfield shading a couple of steps around to the left. He's going to bunt a little bit too hard. Donaldson, a quick throw, and not in time. Adduci getting down the line despite the bunt being a little hard. Donaldson couldn't get him, and Adduci has the base hit.
Well, it was a good bunt, not a great bunt because it was bunted hard. Gave Donaldson a chance to at least have a play. It looked like when he caught the ball he was going to have a pretty good play, but Adduci closed on first base pretty quickly and evidently beat it out.
You know, Bob Melvin was up on the top of the step in the dugout. And now it's too late.
Can't go out now. I think he wanted to, Buzz.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the communication down there in the dugout wasn't what he wanted. But once that pitcher puts his foot in front of the rubber, that's it.
That's it.
Well, the Rangers get a runner on their second base hit of the night on the bunt from Adduci, and J.P. Arancibia takes strike 1. Arancibia getting 148, 4 home runs. And 3 of those home runs, as we mentioned, have come in the last week.
I guess as a manager, when in doubt, just go out there, right?
Right.
You can always come back.
Yeah. Yeah, at least start on the way out there.
We've seen it a number of times where Wash has gone out, turned around, talked to the umpire, and come right back.
Sure.
Well, let's see if we can get a good look at whether he's out or safe. Well, I don't know. They might have had an argument.
Yeah.
There.
Might have. But it was not relayed to Bob Melvin. He was getting a little antsy on the top step.
Yeah, he went back and forth a couple times.
0-2 to JP. And a chopper foul outside third. We'll come back and try it again. We'll take one more look at that.
The one person in the whole ballpark who definitely knows out or safe is the runner. Because you can hear the ball hit the glove and you know exactly when your foot hits the bag. You can feel it, you can hear it. And if in fact that ball got there just a split second before Jim did, he knew it. And so he was, if that's the case, probably glad that it wasn't appealed.
And he wasn't talking to anybody about that.
Not at all.
There he goes on the run, and pitch is popped up. Towering pop up on the right side. Adduci retracing his steps as Sogard makes the catch. Good thing that ball was hit that high in the air. Give Adduci a chance to get back from second.
Yeah, he basically sprinted about 50 yards, most of the way to second, all the way back to first before the ball was caught. That was a good pitch to hit.
Yeah.
JP made contact on the good part of the bat. He just got underneath it. Otherwise, he might have launched that into the gap in right center field. See how high that is and how much time Jim had to get back to first base.
So 1 out now. Adduci's still at first base. Here's Leonis Martin. Gray will work on Adduci a little bit. Gray with pretty good moves to both first and second as far as pickoffs are concerned. Good athlete. Got good quick feet, so Adduci has to be aware of that. Leonis, 268 with the average, 5 home runs, 28 driven in. And it's a ground ball into the hole. They're only going to have one play with Adduci's speed. He gave Eric Sogard pause as to whether he was going to throw that ball to second. So the ground out, Adduci getting into scoring position. He Brewers. They were 2 outs now for Robinson Chirinos.
Could have gambled and tried to go to second, and he thought about that. But I think he made the right choice. Want to make sure you get 1 out. That's what Sogard did. Not a hard hit ball. It's hit to his left. Makes it a little bit of a longer throw. Got a pretty good runner going towards second. Didn't have a real good grip on the ball, so he decided to get the sure out at first base.
I would imagine, too, he knew how fast Martin was. If he had gone to second, might they not have been able to get him at first? Here's Chirinos hitting at 231. A line drive to right, but that is right at Josh Reddick, who moves in a step and takes care of it. So a 9-pitch inning, the Rangers get a hit, they strand a runner. After 2, we are scoreless at Globe Life Park. Celebrating 12 years. You can join the millions of subscribers and watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit TexasRangers.com for details. Another nice crowd on hand here tonight. Looks to be in the same vicinity as the 35,000 plus last night. A good Saturday night crowd at Globe Life Park. For the A's, it'll be the bottom third of the order. Started with Josh Reddick. And the right fielder takes a bit low for ball 1. Reddick, a .236 average, 4 home runs, and 25 driven in. He is just off the disabled list. Had some knee problems. He's been on that inactive list a couple of times this year. That right knee of his has been giving him fits. Reddick last year only able to play in 114 games. And his production the last 2 years has been down. Only a couple of at-bats against Nick Tepesch for Josh Reddick. 0 for 2. 2 balls and a strike. Now 3-1. Reddick trying to start off the third inning for the A's by getting aboard Nick Punto, the switch hitting shortstop. Waits to be next. Swing and a miss as Tepesch took just a little bit off. That was almost like a batting practice speed fastball.
Well, he made it sink and he made it tail away. That ball had some exceptional movement on it. I guess that's one where you take a little off and get that kind of movement. I'd keep throwing that pitch.
Yeah. Now the payoff pitch. Sky to shallow right center field. Leonys Martin got a pretty good break, and he's there. He was out number 1.
He backed up that fastball tailing away with a cut fastball, and he jammed Reddick. So Reddick was in command with the count 3-1, but when you make those two pitches, it doesn't matter what the count is.
Well, before Nick Punto comes up, let's take time for a Mazda game break. Here's Rick Renner. Rick. And Nick Punto stroking the first pitch out to right field, not hit very well, and Alex Rios easily in under it for out number 2.
Yeah, Buzz, we were talking about Jerome Williams' game last night and the fact that he utilized all his pitches. He had a good game plan and he executed it with the command that he had. And it's early in the game. It's only 8 hitters, but Nick Tepesch is doing much the same thing so far tonight. Probably has a very similar game plan since it worked so well last night, but the best plan doesn't work if you don't execute it, and so far so good for Nick.
Yeah, Nick's been able to make the ball move a couple of different ways too, the fastball.
Yeah,
and that's, boy, that if you can start pitching with those two, that is incredibly valuable. Here's Eric Sogard. He takes a knee-high strike, 0-1. Sogard batting at 201. He is homerless and has 10 runs driven in. Tepesch to the line. He took something off, missed a little bit outside, 1-1. Sogard 1 for 2 last night. You can see that lately, last 4 ball games, he has been on fire. A 5 for 13 for a 385 mark. Nick Tepesch about ready to unload his 30th pitch of the night. He drops the breaking ball in.
Well, Nick's strikeout to Cespedes came on a slow curveball that really fooled him, which is a good example of what we're talking about, using all his pitches.
Check swing, he went around. Sogard couldn't hold up, and Tepesch has his second strikeout. 11 pitches in the 3rd inning is all it takes. Athletics gone in order after 2.5. No score. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by the all-new Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. The Rangers locked in a scoreless duel here with the Athletics. Rangers coming to bat in the bottom of the 3rd. They'll have Rougned Odor, the number 9 man, to lead things off, and then back to the top of the order. Sonny Gray goes into the wind. The first pitch is a little bit low and outside for ball 1. Odor showing that bunt. That got Donaldson coming down the line from 3rd. Jim Adduci, leading off last inning, exploited Josh Donaldson a bit. Laid down that bunt and beat it out at first. Donaldson, 18 errors this year. Is the most for a third baseman in the American League. 1-1. Now 1-2.
Donaldson, at least from my perspective, is one of those fielders who has made a lot of errors, but when you watch him play, you feel like he's a pretty good third baseman. He seems to make a lot of good plays. We haven't seen most of those errors. Errors have been a problem, but still looks like a guy that can play his position.
He seems to have pretty good range, a good arm. And,
yeah,
I agree with you. 1-2 to Rugnet. Now 2-2. Take a look at the Ford leaderboard. Rookie hits in the American League for July. And Odor at third behind Jose Abreu and Brock Holt.
There's three guys that look like rookies, and then there's one guy that looks like a veteran. That's Jose Abreu.
Slowly hit out towards short. Punto on the run gets Odor. He's hitting like a veteran too.
Yeah, he's a monster, boy.
Oh, one gone. Now Shin-Soo Choo will get his second at bat against Sonny Gray.
The Rangers are going to get a look at Jose Abreu on the next road trip. Cleveland first for 3, and then the White Sox for 3. Hopefully they'll be able to keep him in the ballpark in those 3 games. Hadn't been an easy task for pitchers in the American League this year.
At 30 now, I believe.
Yeah.
Shin-Soo taking a knee-high strike, nothing in 1. Choo got jammed first time up, popped out to shortstop. Rangers and A's this year have split the 10 meetings. Kind of an odd split. Each ball club getting a sweep in the other's park. Rangers swept 3 from Oakland in April, and then about 10 days later, the A's returned the favor here at Globe Life Park. Gray okays the sign, the 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Beltre and company on that Ranger bench. Talking a lot the last few days, last part of the road trip, about making sure that everybody has their focus together. That Adrian was very concerned that it would be easy for some of the younger players, Choo will ground out, some of the younger players to start thinking that losing was okay, and he said that's the last thing we want to have happen. As leaders, we have to make sure the young guys understand that's not acceptable. It's not what we're here about. And you'll remember Beltre taking on the onus of producing a little better, about 2 months ago now, and picking things up and saying that when the ball club is struggling, it was up to him to get better. And he did. He has. 2 outs here in the Ranger third. Here's Elvis. First pitch to him is on the outside corner for strike 1. Elvis drew a walk in the first inning. It's the only free pass that Sonny Gray has issued tonight. Up the middle, headed towards center field and through for a base hit.
Oh, a blast.
A warm burner. And Elvis with the 3rd hit of the night against Sonny Gray. His first. He is aboard for Alex Rios.
Yeah, Elvis looked like he hit that ball right off the fists, but he sure hit it to the right part of the field, right straight up the middle, found the hole.
And hit the backside of the mound as he was going by, and that made it hug the ground all the way through. A 1-on-2 out, and Elvis very much a base stealing threat, so Gray goes to work on him. Elvis 20 stolen bases this year. That's the good news. The bad news is he's been caught more than anybody else in the American League, 10 times. Gray, a belt high set. And this is high for ball 1.
Over the last 18 games, the A's starters have given up 1 run or less in 11 of 18 starts. Also got a solid bullpen. The staff ERA in the last 3 weeks, 2.41. There's been a little bit of a stretch there where they weren't scoring a lot of runs. They didn't score many yesterday. Before that, they'd scored a bunch over 4 or 5 days. But before that, for a fairly extended period of time, they really weren't scoring a lot of runs. It didn't matter with the kind of pitching they were getting.
1-0 pitch. And that is taken for the strike on the outside corner. Elvis trying to figure out Sonny Gray, see if he can get a lead against the right-hander. He's stepping one off there now as Gray checks him. Good breaking ball from Gray, and boy, that is a hammer. 1-2. One of the American League leaders in stolen bases, Jose Altuve, leading the pack by a pretty wide margin, by 13 over Jacoby Ellsbury. Rajai Davis with 25 and Escobar right ahead of Elvis. Snap throw to first. They got him this time. Gray was working on him, and Elvis tried to get out just a little further and couldn't get back. And he is picked clean. Rangers gone in the third. No runs a hit and nobody left. After 3 complete, Rangers nothing, A's nothing. Sonny Gray getting the job done with Elvis at first base.
Mark Buzz and Tom, special guest. This is John Rasenberger. You may know him as Cliff. That's right, Cliff on that long-time comedy series Cheers. But in town, not only throw out the first pitch, John, but also Foundation for America, taking care of veterans and their families.
Yes, when the veterans come back, a lot of people don't realize that right now there's 600,000 jobs available in manufacturing. So when the veterans come back, our foundation, we identify programs that will train the veterans in whatever area they need to be trained in for that particular manufacturing. And it's also the same thing with construction. So we, teach people welding, CNC machine operation, lathe operation, tool and die making. See, I was a carpenter before I became an actor, and I know how valuable it is to have a skill that nobody can take away from you, and you can get a job anywhere in the world.
Okay, so for people who want to know more about this, John, what do they need to do?
You just go to foundationforamerica.org. Okay. That's the simple thing. Otherwise, come on over to my house and I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, I like that one. All right, you threw out the first pitch tonight.
I did.
What was that like? It looked like you had excellent form.
Well, thank you. I learned this a long time ago, is just get out of your own way. And because everybody said it was a good, that it worked, you know, that it went over the plate. And so I just, because everybody else was more worried than I was.
Perfect, John. Just perfect. A little bounce at the end, but you did have perfect form.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, tell us if Norm was at the bar, can you give us a little of Cliff Clavin talking to Norm out there, talking about the pitch you did?
Hey, did you see that, Nary? I know where the plate that was.
Very good. All right, John. Appreciate it. Best
George is probably watching this at home going, oh, my God.
All right, well, good seeing you there, Cliff. All right, there you go. Cliff Clavin here. All right, there you go.
I didn't know Cliffy was a carpenter. I thought he was a postman.
That was in his former life.
Ah, okay. Love seeing guys like that. Oh, what a great cause he's working for, too.
Yep.
Foundation does great things.
Nick Tepe's doing some great work, too. He has gotten Coco Crisp here for the first down. Now he's ahead of John Jaso. No balls, 2 strikes. Trying to get him to offer that breaking ball, and Jaso said nope. 1-2 now. Jaso grounded out to first on the first pitch he saw in the first inning. 283 the average. Jaso hitting much better when he gets a start behind the plate than when he does at first. Odor gobbles up that ground ball. There's 2 gone.
We're talking about Tepesh pitching well in this ballpark, pitching well at night. He's also been kind of alternating quality starts, so this was his night for a quality start. Hopefully it'll continue. He's pitching very economically. He's only thrown 38 pitches, only given up 1 hit. That was a line drive single by Brandon Moss. He was erased on a double play, so he's faced the minimum amount of hitters so far.
Now, he was on every other outing cycle as far as good as bad. We don't count last Tuesday, do we? That he came in.
The relief appearance?
Yeah,
no,
in that
no,
14-inning game
no.
and got the loss on
Not
that.
counting that.
That doesn't count. Okay.
No, didn't have a long enough time to prove himself one way or the other in that game. Anything can happen in 1 inning.
So just wipe that off.
Wipe
that
that
didn't
one
happen.
off. Yeah,
right.
that didn't happen.
Good, I'm all for that.
Yeah, as a pitcher, why not?
If I hadn't been for the bad outings I had, I would have been pretty good. 1-0 pitch to Cespedes. Line drive, and there's Elvis. A half step to his right, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning on 9 pitches this time. Pulling him down, Nick Tepesh after 3.5 scoreless. Of the year, the first 15,000 fans will be treated to a Pudge Rodriguez Gold Glove bobblehead. That's courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Minyard Food Stores. Bobblehead features Pudge Rodriguez surrounded by his 13 gold gloves. How about that? Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS if you prefer. 13 gold gloves.
Wow. I'd just like to play for 13 years as a bench warmer, let alone win 13 gold gloves.
Well, Alex Rios will start things off. Rios was left standing at home plate when Elvis Andrus was picked off first to end the third. The first pitch from Sonny Gray is high, and Sonny Gray getting more and more perturbed with himself as the game goes on.
Well, he's probably used to throwing the ball right where he wants to, and he's pitching well tonight, but maybe not as pinpoint as he'd like to anyway.
1-0 pitch. And Rios skies it to right center field. Reddick drifting over to his right. That is out number 1.
He seemed to has had better command with his breaking ball than he has his fastball. Threw a good 3-2 breaking ball to Adrian the first time up. Got him to hit into a double play to end the first inning.
Well, Adrian up there now with nobody on and 1 out in the 4th. Beltre, still the top hitter in the American League at home. He's a 377 average in Globe Life Park, and he hits a high chopper to third and just foul as it gets to the bag. No way that, had that ball been fair, that Donaldson was going to be able to throw it out. And Beltre, after the exhibition of speed that we saw from him last night, you can understand that.
Well, it looks like Adrian's legs are feeling probably as well right now as they have in the last year and a half, really. Last year he nursed that leg injury all season long. Right now he looks like he's feeling great.
Well, back into the batter's box. 0-1 the count. And Beltre takes high to even things up. Adrian 2 for 4 last night with an RBI. Gray to the line. And Beltre chops one slowly to third. This one a little easier play for Donaldson. That is out number 2. Well, Gray now will face Jim Adduci. Adduci, you'll remember in the second inning, led off and laid down a bunt. And he was able to leg out to throw from Donaldson at first base. Not as far as second, and he was stranded there.
Well, unless Donaldson moves way in, which he looks like he's starting to do a little bit. Got a shot at it again. A little closer this time, but still well in back of the bag. I guess most conventional wisdom in this situation says try to hit a double, though, with 2 outs rather than bunt for a hit. Unless you're a severe base stealing threat.
And that's going to be in for a single. There's a top spin line drive to right. Adduci aboard with his second hit of the evening. The Rangers have had 1 base hit in each of the first 4 frames off of Gray. Have not been able to break through the run column yet. We'll see if JP Arancibia can change that. Arancibia, a pop out to second, his first time up there. Remember the first time that Adduci was on, he tried to steal on an 0-2 pitch. He's going now. The pitch is swung on a miss. The throw to second is not in time. It bounces away from Sogard. Adduci immediately set sail for second base. He gets the stolen base.
It looked like if Jaso made a very good throw to second, he might have had a shot, but he bounced it. Difficult play for a middle infielder to catch a hop that's coming up and then have to bring your glove back down to make the tag. It looks like an extremely difficult thing to do. Sogard was trying to accomplish that, but had a tough time. I think Jaso knew he had a shot at him if he made a good throw.
Sure looked like it with that reaction. 0-1 now the count to Arancibia. Up the middle, headed towards center. It's through for a base hit. Adduci around third will score, and Arancibia for the second straight night gives the Rangers a lead 1-0.
A little 2-out rally, that's the way to do it. Base hit, great situation to try for a stolen base. 2 outs, 1 man on, close ball game. The throw was not accurate from the catcher. Adduci stole second. All he needs is a little base hit. Arancibia rolls one up the middle, and the Rangers are on the board.
Well, last night it was an Adducey double and an Arancibia single that got the Rangers on the board first. Tonight, it's a single, stolen base, and single. Well, the Rangers a run on 5 hits now. Arancibia at first, still 2 outs. Rangers on the road trip did a lot of damage with 2 outs. And they do it again here tonight to take an early lead. Leonis Martin, a ground ball to second. He gets fisted, fights it off foul. It is 1-1. Martin 0 for 3 in last night's ball game. He's been on a bit of a roller coaster, multiple hits in 3 of his last 6 games. Takes you back to the Toronto series last weekend. As Arancibia at first with 2 outs. Got a hole to shoot for on the right side with Sogard playing him just about straight away. Good breaking ball from Gray. 1-2. I guess when you're talking about Sonny Gray, you don't need to say good breaking ball because every one he throws is good.
Yeah, tonight he's had a good curveball. Hasn't had his best fastball, but he's had a good curveball.
Young right-hander sets at the belt. Got him swinging.
His best curveball right there.
Yep. Good hook, and Gray gets the strikeout. But Rangers get on the board. A run on 2 hits, 1 left. After 4, Rangers on top 1-0. It's on at 10 o'clock on Fox Sports Southwest, where it's not about the score, it's about the experience. A lot of Ranger red and blue on hand here tonight. Rangers have jumped out to a 1-0 lead after 4 innings. Yeah, it is a warm evening at Globe Life. And as we head to the 5th, as always on our Fox Sports Southwest home games, Mark McLemore, co-host of Rangers Live before and after the ball game, is joining us in the booth. Matt, good to see you again.
Thank you.
Seemed like we just left you here a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I recognized you when you walked in the booth.
Oh.
We have gotten back to the summer furnace. No doubt about where we are this time of year.
Yeah, summer has hit here in Texas.
Took a little while to get there. Get here this year. Last year it was here in May. It felt like. At least we had some reprieve this year.
Brendan Moss starting things off for the A's. Moss singled to right, his first time to the plate. And the average for Moss at 268. Tepish to the plate, and the pitch is popped up. Shallow left field, going over toward the line, Jim Adducey. 1 gone. That would be 9 straight now, set down by Nick Tepish and company. We talk a lot about the shift. You guys go ahead and take this thing. Here's the Fox vision.
Well, you look at the shift here, and really what the shift is for, it all starts with the pitcher. Yes, the defense is lined up that way, You've got everybody over on the right side. You've got Beltre basically in the shortstop position, and the outfield is really just in a slight pull position. Typically, when you shift the infield all the way to the right, the outfield goes a little bit to the left, depending obviously on the pitcher and the hitter. But it all starts with the pitcher. You can have that shift in place, but if the pitcher doesn't hit his spot, the shift doesn't come into play. It doesn't matter at all. So if you have your defense set up for that guy to pull, and that pitcher gives him a pitch away, that hitter has all that area over there to hit it in, and sometimes it happens that way. So it all starts with the pitcher.
I guess the other one, Mac, the first one showed how much open space is out there. They had everyone pulled around to the right where they wanted them, and Moss was still able to hit the ball that way and find some open space out there.
Meanwhile, Josh Donaldson lining one to right field.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes that happens, and that's why they have that H up there on the,
on
the scoreboard.
There's nothing to do about that. The shift knew exactly what he was going to do, pull the ball, but they just didn't have enough people to position him out there. They needed one more guy out there.
Add another one.
Odor's got to play a little higher.
You know, that ball that Moss hit for the base hit, if that was Chris Davis, Odor would have been over there. Remember the hits he was taking away from Chris Davis? Yeah. They were playing Chris right down the right field line.
Well, here's Stephen Vogt. And Vogt was the one we showed you that skied the left field against that shift. First time up. The Rangers with the shift on again. And Odor well out into right field. Aaron Seavey has the ball go off his glove, and Vogt is going to leg it out. Well, that worked last night in the ninth inning for the last out of the game. It was deflected to Rougned Odor, who threw to Feliz covering, but Aaron Seavey that time sprawling as he went for the ball, and the ball fell in no man's land. Official score taking a little while to decide what to call that play.
Well, when you haven't played in the infield other than behind the plate, those kind of plays aren't simple.
No, really the thing you really have to look at is he's used to a catcher's glove.
Yeah.
And a first baseman's glove is totally different.
Right.
And actually every glove on the field is different. The catcher's glove is obviously different than a first baseman's glove. Second base and shortstop are similar. Third baseman's glove is a little bit bigger, and then the outfield gloves are large gloves. So it can take some getting used to when you're changing gloves like that, especially when you're changing positions.
Well, the play was ruled an error. So 1 on and 2 out on the air. Will Rudd, the official scorer, determining that routine play or normal play by a major league first baseman would have that. And Aaron Seavey, with his unfamiliarity, charged with the first error of his first base career. Josh Reddick now the hitter, 1 on and 2 out. Reddick skied to center field his first time up. That error, by the way, snapped an 11-batter streak of retiring hitters in a row. There's a little looper out over Beltre's head, going out over his shoulder, and makes a catch with his back to home plate. Modern day Willie Mays.
Talk about some infielders that can't go back on a pop-up. Adrian's not one of them.
Adrian Beltre, one for the ages. Halfway through the game, 1. Catcher Robinson Chirinos Wednesday at the Dallas location of Whataburger on East Northwest Highway. Don't miss this chance to win great prizes and to meet one of your favorite Rangers at Whataburger. Well, the Rangers maintaining a 1-0 lead as they head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Robinson Chirinos will start things off. Gray's first pitch to him is high and tight for ball 1. Chirinos line to right, his first time to the plate. Robinson, who has been on a little bit of a downturn of late. Last 9 ball games or so, he has been struggling. Chops one to third. Donaldson, a good break in and makes it an easy play. Well, before Rougned Odor comes up, let's take time for a Mazda game break. Once again, here's Rick Renner. All right, Rick, thank you.
Rays have won 8 straight. They might have dug too big a hole, but they're playing some good baseball right now.
They're back to 3 games under 500, I think, starting tonight.
Yeah.
They were pretty much buried there for the better part of the first half of the season.
Yeah, it seems like they do that every year. You know, not get as far back as they did this year, but it seems like they start off slow, but right around that All-Star break, they start picking things up.
They got their pitching kicked into gear now.
Yeah, David Price winning last night, his 6th straight victory. There's a breaking ball to Odor through the back door. Rougned down on the count now, 0-2. And Sonny Gray with the early problems, command problems, not getting exactly what he needed out of his fastball. And he has settled down here, and Odor hits a 2-hopper out to his counterpart, Eric Sogard, 2 gone. The Rangers might have given Sonny Gray the wake-up call he was looking for when they scored a run against him last inning.
Yeah, that last curveball that he struck out Martin with to end the 4th inning was probably his best pitch of the day.
2 gone back to the top of the Ranger order for Shin-Soo Choo. Choo is popped out and grounded out. 1 ball, no strikes. Gray okays the sign. And this is low and in to Choo. 2 balls, no strikes to count. Rangers a run on 5 hits. The A's no runs on 1 hit. Nick Tepesch 5 shutout innings thus far, and he's going to follow in the blueprint that Jerome Williams set for him last night.
Well, I like what he's been doing so far. He hasn't really made any mistakes down the middle of the plate. You know, he's inside, he's outside, he's on the edges, not trying to live down the middle. You know, he's up when he goes up in the zone. He's going up off the corners, getting them to swing at some high pitches for fly balls. So he's doing a really good job so far.
Well, Sonny Gray is 11-3, having a great season. The A's haven't scored a lot of runs for him. 2 runs or less in 8 of his 20 starts. They've been shut out this year 4 times, 3 times when Gray has been on the mound.
You sue them for non-support.
Yeah, he's still making a pretty good season out of it anyway, though.
On a warm night, that stuff hits the spot, doesn't it? Wow.
Better eat it before it melts.
About 30 seconds left.
Now the 2-2. And the count is full. So Choo with 2 outs trying to get aboard Elvis Andrus. Would like to get a shot at Gray here in the 5th inning. Now Gray, despite having less than perfect control for him anyway, he's not walked anybody yet tonight. And he gets Choo here on a swinging strike 3. So it's another 1-2-3 inning. We played 5, 1-0 Rangers. Mac, thanks for joining us. We will see you after the ball game on Rangers Live.
All right, guys.
your Texas Ford dealers. That Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event now playing in a Ford dealer near you. From right behind the ball girl down the left field line, that's what she sees down that. Has to ward off these guys sitting right behind her. Might give her a little trouble. Nah. Got security right there next to her. Best ball girls in baseball.
They are.
Here at Globe Life Park. Nick Punto leading things off against Nick Tepish. The pitch outside. 2 balls and no strikes now. Punto, a fly ball to right, his first time up. Tepish with the next pitch, and he hits the outside corner. 2-1. Well, neither pitcher tonight has walked a hitter. Tepish, an economy of pitches. This is 55th coming up in this ball game, and we're 1 hitter into the 6th inning. A little pop foul off the fist, 2-2.
That's been a good pitch for Nick. That tight slider or cut fastball, whatever you want to call it. He has consistently got it into the left-hand hitters. And Buzz, he's doing what you've alluded to many times. If you're going to throw that to a left-hand hitter, keep it above the belt, not down around the ankles. And he's gotten some pretty good pitches off their fists doing that.
Yeah. Now the 2-2. Tried the breaking ball and missed outside the back door. 3-2. Punto trying to get aboard to start things off here in the 6th. Eric Sogard, the second baseman, is waiting. Yeah, for a right-hander throwing to a left-handed hitter, you try to throw down and in, you're asking for trouble. There's a little pop-up, shallow left. Ducey coming on. He was playing fairly shallow anyway. Jim there to make the grab, 1 out.
About the 5th or 6th out on that pitch. Buzz, earlier you were talking about him being able to make his fastball go in 2 different directions. You got some pretty good examples of that. One was when Reddick was hitting, and he was ahead in the count 3-1. Kind of in a commanding position. Throws him a good sinker tailing away, and then the cut fastball in. And the combination resulted in a swing and a miss and a little jam shot.
Yep.
Then in the 5th inning, he threw him that same pitch in, making it move, jammed him right off the handle, and Beltre made an excellent play. And then Punto on the 3-2 pitch was the same thing. A little jam shot and a blooper to left field. So I guess Nick really couldn't do a better job of what we kind of asked him to do when the game started.
Yeah.
Let's use all his pitches, have a game plan, and execute it. He's doing just what Jerome did last night.
Yeah, and you go back to the execution, and you talked about it. That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he has not missed when he's had to run that cut fastball in. He has not missed, and Max said it, over the plate.
Right.
Yeah, he's missed inside if he's going to miss, and that's what you have to do.
Yep. And for Nick, the several times he's been behind in the count, it really hasn't mattered because he's made such good pitches when he's been behind in the count. In those counts, 3-1, 2-0, if you do miss over the plate, those are the ones that a team like this will jump all over. But Nick hasn't given him a chance to do it tonight.
0-2 to Sogard. And that's laced down the left field line, slicing, but it's a fair ball. Ducey over to play the carom, going for 2 is Sogard. He's in with a head first dive. A 1-out double, and that's the first A's hit since the 2nd inning, and just their 2nd of the night.
Well, the Rangers play Sogard way around toward left field. So that's not a surprise that he hit the ball that way. But he hit it sharply, and he hit it almost right on the line. And even though Ducey was playing over there, he couldn't get to it in time. You see it where he's playing shallow and way over toward left field. But he hits it so hard and right down the line that by the time Jim gets there, he can't keep him from getting a double.
Well, the 2nd hit of the night for the Oakland A's here with 1 out in the 6th inning. Sogard now in scoring position. Coco Crisp, the leadoff man, takes outside on the breaking ball. This is the first opportunity for the A's tonight to hit with a runner in scoring position. Last night, they were just 1 for 9. Rangers did a very good job against the A's in situations where they usually excel. And they're going to get the 2nd out here of the inning as Rougned Odor throws out crisp. On to third goes Sogard, but he's there now with 2 outs, and John Jaso coming up. And before Jaso comes up, let's check in once again with Jim Knox.
All right,
Jim?
Buzz, real quick. Great hot dog call right here. I just ran into this guy. Go ahead, give us some of it. Hot dog! Bad, huh? But really, what I need to do is plug a big night at Globe Life Park tomorrow night, because it is not only Texas A&M night, it's also Ranger Fedora night. First 15,000 fans received this beautiful hat. Check out this A's guy. How about a Fedora Ranger hat for the A's cap? Huh? Really? What kind of fan are you, big guy, huh? That looks good. Look at that. Very nice. That's tomorrow night, Buzz.
Got to respect the other team's fans, even if they're in your ballpark. Boy, he is pounding that part of the plate with that pitch all night long. One right after the other. 86 miles an hour. And just a little cutting action that brings it right in on the fist. I guess when we talk about him and the consistency you want to see in the second half, that pitch can go a long way toward developing that consistency, the ability to do that.
Drive to right field. Rios is going back. He's at the wall. It is gone. Well, Jaso, who took the first cutter inside, looked like he got one this time and stayed out over the plate and drove it out of here for his 8th home run of the year. The A's have turned around the game. It's now 2-1 Oakland.
It's too bad, because Nick has made so many good pitches tonight, and he just missed with that one. He just didn't get it in quite far enough. I don't know that Jaso got it on the great part of the bat, but it just never got to the point in the strike zone that he wanted it to get to. Stayed up and out over the plate, and Jaso got enough of it to sneak it out of the ballpark. I thought that was the cutter, but it didn't look like it was.
If it was the cutter, he got off the side of it and it came back on it.
Yeah.
That could have been. It was either it wasn't a 2-seamer judging for the spin. It was a 4-seamer, and it just didn't quite. He didn't quite get on top of it enough to cut it in, and Jaso made him pay. Oh, a 2-1 Oakland lead now, and Yoenis Cespedes up there. The 0-1 pitch to him, going outside. Cespedes 0 for 2, a strikeout. He's also lined to short. Well, for Oakland, their 106th home run as a team. Came in 4th in the American League with 105. They have added 1 to that. Cespedes a .253 average as he faces Nick Tepesch. Fly ball, that's pretty well hit to right field. Going back, Rios, he is at the wall. That ball is gone. Cespedes going the other way. And we have said the jet stream is not alive in Globe Life Park. It may be making a rebound here. Last couple of nights, the ball has carried well. And Cespedes riding it out of here makes it a 3-1 Oakland lead.
Well, if you watch Cespedes in the home run contest at the All-Star game, you know what kind of power he has. I don't think he hit that ball all that well, but with his strength and the way the ball is carried the last couple of nights, it was enough to get it out of the ballpark. Looked like he hit it a little bit off the end of the bat. Right near the middle of the plate. He definitely got enough of it, as strong as he is, to just sneak it out in right field.
Well, Andy Hawkins, the acting pitching coach, out there to talk with Tepesch and Chirinos. In case you missed the news, Andy Hawkins handling the pitching coach chores for tonight and tomorrow. Mike Maddox in Cooperstown to enjoy brother Greg's induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame tomorrow. Well, here's Brandon Moss after back-to-back home runs from Jaso and Cespedes. Moss a single in 2 trips. A's now 3 runs on 4 hits tonight. 2 of them in this inning, leaving the ballpark. And this one flied into left center field, playable for Jim Adducci, who makes the grab, and that'll do it. But the A's score 3 times on 3 hits, including including back-to-back home runs by Jaso and Cespedes. Bottom of the sixth coming up, 3-1 Oakland. Slam inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,000 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight the Rangers are hitting for Charles Stahl from Bedford. And for Rangers, it's a grand slam this inning. Charles Stahl of Bedford will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. The Rangers all of a sudden find themselves down. First time in this series they have trailed, and it's by 2 tonight. 3-1 Oakland. Elvis Andrews starting things off, and Sonny Gray all of a sudden working with the lead, and he deals strike one. Elvis 1 for 1 tonight. A single. He is also walked. And that pitch just a bit low. 1-1. Elvis a 2 for 4 night last night, but back over the last 6 games, he has been struggling. He had been struggling prior to last night. On just 3 for 16 in 5 games before. But back on the upswing now. 2-1 the count. Elvis trying to get on base. Rangers need a couple of base runners and do some damage here in the 6th inning. Going outside, 3-1. Elvis second in the order. He'll be followed by the big guys, Alex Rios and then Adrian Beltre. Down the middle, taking all the way. Elvis looks at strike 2. Gray to the wind, the payoff pitch. Low ball 4. Elvis eyeballing it. He is aboard, and that makes Alex Rios coming up the tying run in this ballgame.
Sonny Gray's walked the couple. He's walked Elvis both times. Not the kind of guy that you want to walk with the 3, 4, 5 guys coming up in your lap.
Rios 1 for 2. Alex had a first inning single to left field. Last time up, fly to right. Elvis, you remember, already picked off once in this ball game by Gray, as Rios takes inside for ball 1. .301 the Rios average as he stands at the plate. Elvis stepping that lead off. Gray a quick move over there, and Elvis back. Elvis a little more aware of the quickness of Sonny Gray's move.
Yeah, it's one thing to get picked off with a couple of outs, but you don't want to get picked off down by 2 runs with nobody out in the 6th inning. Play a little safer.
There's a pitch on the outside corner. A ball and a strike. Against the A's this year, Alex Rios a .278 average. 1 triple in there, and that's out of his career high 8 triples that he has gathered so far. Chops the next pitch foul. The count moves to 1-2. Rangers right in the middle of the pack as far as batting average goes. They're 6th with a .259 average coming in. But the on-base percentage continuing to drop. They're down to .315 now. And that's only the 9th best out of 15 in the American League. Gray ready for the 1-2 pitch. Looks like Gray might have that sinker under control now. He has really kept that down and moved it in to Alex Rios. Pitch that Gray didn't have much command of earlier in the ballgame. It's funny how a pitcher's mentality changes when he gets a lead for the first time.
Yeah. And you know, they say about good pitchers, try to get them early when you get the chances, because they might straighten out and get better as the game goes on. He's definitely a good pitcher, and that definitely seems to be what he's doing.
Foul ball from Rios, still 1-2, and the Chevy pitch tracker showing you that last pitch, probably one that Alex would like to have back. It was kind of a hanging breaking ball that Alex apparently recognized a little too late. Fouled it off to the right. Gray nods in agreement. Another 1-2. Sliced down the right field line, but that's going to twist back into the seats. And we'll have to try it again.
Did she catch that ball? Hit her in the arm.
Plunked her on the arm, I think.
Well, that's justice. If it hit her in the arm, she deserves to get the ball. There you go. Nice going.
Nobody spilled anything either. That's
so.
the important thing. They're tossed to first, and Elvis back under the tag of Brandon Moss. A 3-1 Oakland lead. Rangers trying to make some noise here in the 6th inning. They have Andrus at first with nobody out. Lead off walk. Alex Rios at the plate. A count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Got him swinging. A nasty breaking ball. And strikeout number 3 rung up by Sonny Gray. Those 3 have come in the span of the last 6 hitters.
You mentioned it, Buzz. His fastball has gotten better, and his curveball has stayed good. Pretty much perfect location with that one. Looked like it might be a strike, and then curved out of the strike zone right at the end.
Well, that is the first out here in the 6th. Here's Adrian Beltre, who is 0 for 2. He has grounded out twice, once into a double play. Oh boy, that right there in the wheelhouse for Adrian Beltre.
That had 3-3 written all over it right there. Trying to throw that ball down and away, and it's right in the middle of the plate.
Oof.
That's one where it goes as a strike, but he didn't throw it where he wanted. He just got away with it.
Well, 0-1.
When you're throwing it 93 miles an hour with some movement on it, I guess you got a better chance of throwing it there and not having something bad happen.
And another foul ball. It's 0-2. Yeah, there's a little larger margin of error than the guy that's throwing 88 straight or 90 straight.
Yeah, they don't miss those quite as often.
Even though that one was up, it was working its way inside.
Yeah.
Well, Sonny Gray about ready to unload pitch number 80 tonight. Adrian Beltre waiting. Elvis with the lead at first. Draws a throw. Rangers had at least one hit in each of the first 4 innings. But Gray has not allowed them a hit in the last inning and a third. Andrus, a lead again for the first. Gets away from Moss, but not very far. Oh, Elvis stays put. Moss did a pretty good job to get leather on that. Elvis establishes his lead as the pitch is on the way, and it's fouled off. They coming to Beltre, and Adrian not able to square one up yet. Still 0-2. Gray once again set. Got him swinging. Another hard breaking ball. Back-to-back strikeouts of Rios and Beltre. 2 gone for Jim Adduci.
That hard power curveball that he throws.
Well, Gray with 4 strikeouts in the last 2 innings. Jim Adduci 2 for 2 tonight. He's had a bunt single and a single to right field. He scored the only Ranger run back in the 4th inning. Well, that average back up over 300 for Adduci. As the first pitch is outside, ball 1. RF camera going all over the ballpark, showing you different views from the different parts of the stadium, right down at field level in the commissioner's box down the third baseline. 1-0 pitch now on the way. How about our AT U-verse rewind? Jim Adduci with a leadoff single to right field and immediately set sail for second. Swiped the bag. And then Aaron Sebia came home with a ground ball to center field. That was the Rangers' lone run so far of tonight. They trail 3-1. The pitch is low. It's 3 balls and no strikes. Adduci trying to get aboard to join Elvis Andrus. JP Arencibia, your first baseman, waits to be next. Elvis with a leadoff walk. He is there 2 strikeouts later. Ball 4. Looks like Gray wanted nothing to do with Adduci. No, 2 walks in the inning. Rangers runners at first and second. Tying runs aboard. JP Arencibia is coming up. Folks, Fox Sports Supports is proud to collaborate with the Stand Up to Cancer. It's a groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients quickly in order to save lives right now. For more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. Well, 2 on, 2 out. Arencibia steps up 1 for 2 tonight. RBI single, driving in his 13th run of the year last time up. He had a hanger and fouled it straight back.
They've had some pitches to hit this inning. They just haven't quite connected with them yet. There's a home run swing on a home run pitch. Well, that's right down Broadway, the hanging slider. AP was right on it. Had the big swing. He had that look on his face.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I missed my pitch.
A painful grimace.
It was.
Tried another breaking ball that didn't hang up there. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Arencibia's hit both fastballs and breaking balls for home runs since he rejoined the club a week ago yesterday. He's got the tying runs on base here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And that breaking ball catches the outside corner. It's 1-2. Elvis, a leadoff walk, is now at second. He was pushed over there by a 2-out walk to Jim Adduci. Sonny Gray getting set to throw his 25th pitch of this inning. 1-2, it's on the way. Got him swinging. Gray punches out 3 and walks 2 in the inning. Rangers don't do any damage. We'll move on to inning number 7. Oakland coming to bat, leading 3-1 on Fox Sports Southwest. The A's with 3 in the 6th inning, all on home runs. Back-to-back drives by Jaso and Cespedes, accounting for all 3 of the Oakland runs against Nick Tepesch. Rangers, meanwhile, a run on 5 hits. They left 2 aboard this last time up. Elvis Andrus has reached base in all 3 plate appearances tonight, 1 single and a couple of walks. Now here we go in the 7th inning. Josh Donaldson leads things off. Nick Tepesch back to the hill and fires strike 1. Tepesch still just 71 pitches through the first 6 innings. Donaldson is grounded into a double play tonight in line to right field. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nate Adcock just called up a couple of days ago from AAA. Getting loose in that Ranger bullpen. Tepesch back to the plate, missed with the breaking ball. 2-1 to Donaldson. Now Ron Washington going out to the mound along with Kevin Harmon. Didn't see anything from Nick Tepesch that would indicate a physical problem, but could be something that he talked about between innings. Kevin just checking with him, and Ron Washington, a very interested observer. And Wash shaking his head, and they're going to go to the bullpen. But whatever it is with Nick, and we'll find out and let you all know, it looked like something that Nick thought he could go ahead and continue with, and Ron Washington probably of the opinion, no, there's no sense taking a chance considering where we are in the season and what's been going on. We need you to be able to make all your starts. So Nate Adcock will be summoned from the Ranger bullpen. I would think he would be given all the time that he needs to get loose. He had been up and throwing, so big right-hander coming on. We'll take a timeout. while we have a second, we'd like to fill you in on what's coming up. The Yankees come into town. Rangers and A's finish up tomorrow night. Yankees in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll be with you on Monday night, Fox Sports Southwest. The Tuesday night matchup is a 6:30 start on Fox Sports 1. On their air that night, Yankees and Rangers. And on Wednesday, we'll be back here. And don't forget, now Wednesday, July 30th, Rangers are going to honor the captain, Derek Jeter, pregame ceremony. So make sure and get your tickets if you haven't already for that. It'll be a nice night. And last chance to see Derek Jeter in his great career coming here to Globe Life Park.
And Nate Adcock will come on in relief of Nick Tepesch. At Round Rock, he pitched in 13 games, had a nice record. Opponents hit below 200 against him. Went to spring training with a chance to make the ball club, but never pitched. He was hurt. Had thoracic outlet syndrome, which has become but somewhat common over the last 10 years. I guess guys might have gotten it before, but maybe they didn't know what it was or they didn't do anything about it. But a number of pitchers and players have had that.
And a fly ball pretty well hit to right field. That's going to send Rios back. He is at the wall. That ball is gone. Into the Ranger bullpen on a 2-2 pitch. Josh Donaldson drives his 22nd home run of the year out of the yard. And it's a 4-1 A's lead.
Well, the A's were pretty quiet with 2 outs and 1 on in the 6th. But since that time, 3 out of 4 A's, Jaso, Cespedes, and Donaldson have hit the ball out of the ballpark to right field. Trying to get that ball down and away. Instead, it comes back toward the middle of the plate on the inside part of the plate. Donaldson hits it high and into the Ranger bullpen.
Well, 3 home runs in the game for the Athletics. 108 for the season now. And they have a 4-1 lead. I think Alex Rios really thought he had a legitimate chance getting back there. I think the jet stream may be back.
Sure looks
at
like
least a little bit anyway, going that direction. The ball that Cespedes hit particularly, and the ball that Donaldson hit. Wind blowing in out of the southeast, about 10 or 12 miles an hour. And in the past, that had been a jet stream producing direction. We'll have to see. Maybe it's just because the weather's getting nice and warm, too. In any event, Donaldson able to drive it out. And Stephen Vogt up there, down on the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Nate Adcock. Got him swinging. Good hard breaking ball, and Adcock gets the strikeout. 1 gone.
There's a look at it. Hard slider. Looks good. Oh, doesn't look too good right now. It had to be a pretty good pitch to get Vogt the way he's swinging.
Yeah.
400 in his last 20 games. 361 coming into the ball game.
Well, 1 out. Josh Reddick up there now, takes low and outside for ball 1. Nate Adcock, a 26-year-old Kentuckian. To the line, back to the plate, fouled away. Adcock, about 6'4", he's listed at 235. Did all of his pitching prior to this year with the Kansas City Royals. Came up with them originally in 2011. Spent a little time with them in 2012. There's a high drive hit deep to right field and down the line, and that ball is gone. Josh Reddick on a 1-1 pitch turns it around. No jet stream needed there. It is 5-1 Oakland.
The A's are turning the last couple of innings into a home run derby. 2, 4, 6. 4 out of the last 6 hitters have hit home runs.
Now for Reddick, his 5th home run of the season.
It's been a quiet season for Reddick. He's been hurt. Same with last year. Year before, though, he had 32 home runs. So hitting the ball out of the ballpark is something he's done a pretty good job of at some point in time in his career. Trying to get healthy again.
Still just one out. Here's Nick Punto. That ball shot foul past third base coach Mike Gallego, who never moved a muscle. Standing there
he
watching.
either knew he was out of the way or he just never reacted to
Yeah.
it. It was hit too hot, too hard. He's a middle infielder. He could get out of the way if he needed to.
That's right. 0-1 pitch. A good tailing fastball from Adcock. 0-2 to Punto. Punto tonight a couple of fly balls, once to right and once to left. Adcock to the wind, the 0-2. Nate Adcock grew up in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Graduated high school in 2006 and was taken by the Royals that year. Way inside. He was a 5th round selection. Excuse me, by Seattle before he went over to Kansas City. Punto waiting, 2-2. Tried the back door and it was locked. No full count. Punto hitting 8th in the order to be followed by the second baseman. That's Eric Sogard. Payoff pitch on the way. By the mound, charging Odor. He makes that play extremely well. Punto is out, 2 gone. I saw Rudnett made that play, make that kind of play going either towards second base or straight in toward home a couple of times on the road. And doesn't even bother slowing down. He just goes ahead and throws. Very comfortable doing that.
He kind of goes to his right a little bit so that when he comes in, he's going a little bit more toward first base than away from first base, which allows him to get a little bit more on the throw. Very nice play.
2 outs. Now Sogard coming up. Sogard doubled down the left field line his last time up. 1 out of 2. And a strike from Adcock.
Interesting note on the A's. They have not used a rookie this year. Veteran team. No rookies allowed. Rangers have used some rookies this year.
Yeah. About 16 of them, I believe, was the last count. Adcock, not one of those rookies, but they are sprinkled throughout the roster. 0-2 pitch to left field. And Adducci backing up, makes the play. That will do it. But the A's, a pair of solo home runs, 2 more on the board. 5-1 as we take the stretch here at Globe Life Park. Chuck Morgan asking the folks to honor America, singing God Bless America.
Rangers and all the Major League Baseball.
the seventh time to reveal our selection for tonight on the AT&T fan photo. And we thank the good folks at AT&T for making this possible, the fan participation. This is from Shella. This picture out here at the ballpark. Thanks, Shella. Appreciate that very much. And for all of you who'd like to tweet your photo, it's hashtag Southwest Fan Photo. And we'll select one for every ball game we have on Southwest Air. Leonis Martin leading off here in the bottom of the seventh inning. And Sonny Gray misses a little bit low. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. You get word from the Ranger clubhouse that Nick Tepish left with left knee soreness. It was most likely something that he had maybe mentioned to Kevin Harmon, the Rangers trainer, in between innings. He was having a little bit of trouble. They sure didn't hesitate when he went out there to talk to him and yank him out of the ball game. Gray back to the plate, the 2-1 pitch. And that is low. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, Gray has either been striking him out or walking him. The last 6 hitters, he's had 4 strikeouts and 2 walks. Rangers had a walk to Elvis to lead off the 6th, and another walk. Couldn't make anything happen after a couple of men on.
Ball chopped into the Ranger dugout. Bagley, the hitting coach. AP Arancibia just to his right. Well, Leonis with a full count now, trying to get aboard to start this 7th inning. Robinson, Chirinos, DeFalo in the order. Payoff pitch, low ball 4. And there is a leadoff walk. And before Chirinos comes up, let's take time for a Mazda game break. Here's Rick Renner. All right, Rick, thank you. Now, after the leadoff walk, Kurt Young, the A's pitching coach, going to go out and have a chat with Sonny Gray.
Only the 3rd time this year that Gray has walked for. Second time he's done it against the Rangers, though. Leadoff walk. Rangers need to make up some ground here late in the ball game. No one has put the ball in play in the last 7 hitters.
Robinson Chirinos has grounded out and lined to right field against Gray tonight. Martin at first, nobody out in the 7th inning. And the first pitch is very high for ball 1. Fernando Abad is loosening in the A's bullpen. Yeah, the left-hander waiting in the on-deck circle, and Rougned Odor, and then another left-hander to follow at the top of the Ranger order, and Shin-Soo Choo. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gray, inning by inning, had a stressful 6th inning. Rangers made him work 25 pitches worth. Other than that, very, very consistent for the 24-year-old right-hander. 1-1 pitch. Could be a double play grounder. Turned over by Sogard and Punto, and that takes care of the leadoff walk. A 6-4-3 double play, the 2nd turn tonight by the A's defense. 2 gone.
Well, when you're struggling with your command, he'd already thrown 8 pitches in the 7th inning. That's just what you're looking for. He has good movement on his fastball. He can get some ground balls with it. He got one at a key moment right there for him as he tries to get through the 7th inning. 98 pitches for Gray right now.
Well, base is empty, and here is Odor. Rougned has grounded out twice, once to short and once to second. He was trying to hit one up there in the upper porch somewhere. 0-1. Gray to the wind. Comes back with that breaking ball through the back door. 0-2. Rougned a .269 average as he faces Gray here in the 7th inning. Dan Otero, the right-hander, replaced Fernando Abad, loosening in that bullpen for the A's. So with the left-handers effectively out of the way after the double play. Otero, who is the main setup guy for the A's. Into right field, a base hit for Odor. And the dive of Brandon Moss. And Rougned with his first hit of the night, the 6th Ranger safety of the evening. A 1 on 2 outs for Shin-Soo Choo.
Definitely not overmatched for a young player who's never played AAA ball and not that much AA ball, really. He's making some pretty good contact. And he's not up there just trying to slap the ball into play, Buzz. He's up there taking a pretty healthy swing.
Yes,
every
he
time,
is.
too.
He is that. Here's Choo, who is 0 for 3 tonight. This pitch is over to him for strike 1. Shin-Soo popped out in the first, grounded out in the 3rd, and struck out in the 5th. The average currently at 241. Trying to keep this inning alive for the Rangers. They trail 5-1. The hits now are even at 6 apiece. Big difference. Of the 6 A's hit, 4 have left the yard. Choo waiting as Gray studies the signs. Now the 0-1. Nothing in 2.
Gray popped that fastball at 95 miles an hour on his 104th pitch. Talk about him being slightly built for a major league right-hander, but he's pretty much been just as strong, is just as strong right now as he was at the beginning of the ball game.
0-2 coming to Choo. In the dirt. You know, from what we hear about Sonny Gray, Tom, a lot of that probably is just force of his will. He just refuses to get tired.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
He's what everybody says that's around the A's all the time. He's a great competitor and a real bulldog on the mound. He sure looks like that, too.
Just what he looks like. Could be his last hitter right here with a 4-run lead. This will be pitch number 106, and Otero is warmed up with the right-hand hitters coming up.
Gray a check of first. Now the 1-2 to Choo. Rolled into right field. Sogard throws it well away, and it's into the Padres well. And that is going to put Odor at third base. And Choo will go down to second. Ball went out of play. And third base umpire Brian Onora immediately pointed to third for Odor. So when the throw was made, Odor gets 2 bases from that spot. Not quite to second. The throw's made right there, right at second. So in the umpire's judgment, you get 2 bases from that spot when the play is started. And that is indeed going to be it for Sonny Gray. So he leaves with runners at second and third. And Dan Otero, right-hander, coming in from the A's bullpen. So with 2 outs in the 7th inning, Rangers have something going. They trail 5-1. We're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest.
Arlington, where through 6.5, the Oakland A's lead your Texas Rangers 5-1. Now, we know the season hasn't been very easy. In fact, it's been a roller coaster, to say the least. And while the veterans of this club have done a tremendous job guiding the younger ones, it's really started at the top with manager Ron Washington and that unwavering optimism of his. In fact, I liked his answer earlier on what exactly he's been preaching to this young clubhouse.
Each and every one of us would always like things handed to us on a platter, and sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. And when it doesn't happen that way, that don't mean you change what's inside of you. And I just try to make them understand that's what's inside of them is they're very competitive guys. Yes, we may be a little short, but it's not the best team that wins, it's the team that play the best.
Adversity is life, guys, and Wash's ability to take those life lessons and apply them to the game is what makes him one of the best.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. Well, Dan Otero has come into the ballgame. There are the numbers for the A's right-hander.
Now, Otero is a severe sinker ball pitcher. He's only given up a couple of home runs in almost 60 innings. And sinkers get ground balls.
Punto, off-balance throw, and he gets Elvis at first base. So that'll do it. Otero comes in, induces the ground ball. The Rangers are gone in the 7th. No runs, 2 hits. They lead 2. We're going to the 8th inning. It's the A's 5.
Border family. They came all the way in from the where?
The Netherlands.
Netherlands. All right, to see their very first baseball game. What do you think so far?
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, you've been doing a chant in the stands. What's that been?
Hup Holland. Hup Kansas. Hup Kansas.
And what does that mean?
Go Kansas.
Okay, good enough. And you left a couple of your sons at home. What do you think when they're going to see this? What are they going to do?
Very jealous and crying, and also want to be here.
Very good. All right, well, here's the shirt. Congratulations. Good day, mate. Have a good time. Appreciate it.
All right, Doxy. Thank you very much. 5-1 Oakland lead as we head to the top of the 8th inning. The top of the order to face Nate Adcock. Kirkland Crisp and John Jaso, Yoenis Cespedes. First pitch from Adcock sails outside for ball 1. Crisp 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of groundouts and a fly ball to left field. Adcock came on one hitter into the 7th inning. Took over for Nick Tepesch, who had to leave with soreness in the left knee. It was during the at-bat to Josh Donaldson. He inherited a 2-1 count and ended up giving a home run to Josh Donaldson. Gave up another home run in that inning to Josh Reddick. 2-1 now, the count to Crisp. Adcock to the wind, the 2-1. Left field, drifting over and back. Jim Adduci there. One gone. Now let's take a look at our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery, and it happened in a hurry if you're the Oakland A's. John Jaso leaving the yard, a 2-run shot. Cespedes followed. Donaldson was next, and then Josh Reddick. And just like that, 5 runs on the board in a span of 6 hitters for the Athletics. Freaky fast deliveries by Oakland, thanks to Jimmy Johns. And here is Jaso, 1 for 3 with that home run. Jaso now hitting at 285. That's where he began things this evening. 8 home runs. He has now driven in 35. This is a guy who has spent a lot of time at the top of the order, either first or second in the Oakland batting order. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last night he led off as the DH. Adcock into the wind, the 1-1 pitch. Now 1-2.
When you combine the A's being the highest scoring team with having the best pitching, it stands to reason that they're outscoring their opponents by 160 runs. That's the most in Major League Baseball. The Angels are second, almost half of that. It's a pretty good combination for being a good team. Score the most runs and give up the least amount of runs.
Yeah.
That should win you some ball games.
Yeah, probably have you above 500 a little bit.
Yeah.
One and 2 is Adcock. Goes into the wind. Call strike 3. Jaso had to think about it for a second, but I think in the back of his mind he realized that was going to send him back to the dugout. Adcock with his second strikeout.
Well, definitely trying to get it in, and that ball came back. That late movement. The hitter just doesn't expect it. The ball's inside, and then it comes back that last 2 or 3 inches right at the end and catches the inside corner. Very difficult pitch to hit. And if you can master that pitch like some sinker ball pitchers do, it can get you a lot of outs.
Well, 2 gone, and here is Cespedes. You know, you're talking about the run differential, Tom, at 160 for the A's. In comparison, the Rangers coming into play tonight have been outscored by 109.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's a pretty dramatic difference. And then in the season series, the Rangers are 5-5 against the A's. So how do you figure that?
So much for predicting baseball.
What's the other one? The Rangers have still have the most shutouts too.
Most shutouts, 14, and the highest ERA.
Yeah, that just does not go hand in hand.
Cespedes gone.
Boy, Nate.
A good breaking ball and a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning for Nate Adcock. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rangers trailing 5-1.
Morgan Club. Rangers looking for a big rally, down 5-1. I'm Rick Renner. On deck after the game, we have Rangers Live presented by Esurance. We will relive some of the highlights of Eric Nadell's Hall of Fame speech in Cooperstown, New York. Mark McLemore, Pudge Rodriguez, Aaron Hardigan with all the interviews in the clubhouse. It's after a big Rangers rally. We'll see you after the game. Now back to Buzz and Tom.
All right, Rick, thank you. Well, we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers coming to bat. They're trailing by 4. And the new pitcher on the hill for the Oakland A's. It'll be the 30-year-old right-hander Luke Gregerson. Just looking down at the field, John Jaso, the catcher, doing some squats for the training staff and for Bob Melvin. And you're gonna have to make a change here. Looked like Jaso was talking something about his leg, whether it was his knee or I'm not really sure, but doing the squats and pointing to the bottom part of his legs, and yeah, that kind of hurts down there. We're going to have Derek Norris come in from the bullpen. He'd been out there catching relief pitchers, so he's going to come in and get the gear on and go back behind the plate. The other catcher that the A's have on the roster is Stephen Vogt, and he's in a DH. So unless you wanted to lose your DH, you have Vogt catch, and you have to go to Derek Norris. So we'll have a little break here while Derek Norris goes in, gets the gear on, and we'll come back and take over behind the plate. Well, Luke Gregerson, and we'll show you what was happening. Jaso's back there catching. Look it in there and get somebody ready. He just pointed to his left knee.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's telling him, go get someone ready because I'm going to have to come out. It won't take Norris that long to get ready. He's been out in the bullpen catching and throwing anyway. He just has to get the equipment on. He's got it on. Here he comes out of the dugout now. He's ready to go.
Quick change artist.
Yep. Yeah, the shin guard's already on.
Well, fans, a quick reaction for you for the rest of the season. Fans can count Hughes' strikeouts at home and save on upcoming games. For every strikeout Hugh Darvish throws at home, Rangers will offer fans $1 off tickets in select seating areas. That's up to $12. Watch Darvish throw on Monday night against the Yankees, then visit TexasRangers.com/strikeout on Tuesday. And use the coupon code STRIKEOUT to take advantage of this great offer. If you weren't cheering for every strikeout from Hugh Darvish quite as loudly, maybe you will now.
Let's take a look at Gregerson's overall numbers on the season. They're very good. Hasn't given up a run in about a month. That covers 9 outings. He's tied for 6th in the American League with 48 games pitched. So he has had a lot of work, but not necessarily a whole lot of innings. 48 games, 49 innings. Pitches about an inning every time he comes into a ball game.
Well, Gregerson goes to work, and the first pitch to Alex Rios is down and away for ball 1. Rios tonight 1 for 3, had a first inning single. Other than that, is flied out and struck out. And a ground ball toward third. Donaldson triggers the throw. That's out number 1.
Third baseman, Adrian.
Now Adrian Beltre coming up. Gregerson pretty much a workhorse. You go back to his days with San Diego, from whom the Athletics got him. Going back to 1979, or 2009. He had 363 appearances for San Diego. And Beltre, a high drive to deep left field. Cespedes back at the wall and makes the catch. Well, that was high enough. The wind just knocked it down a bit.
Yeah, I think what you'll see is if there is any effect as far as the wind tunnel goes, whether or not there is a wind tunnel, if there is any effect, it's usually on more of a line drive. What we've seen is when balls are hit that high and get above that, they're usually knocked down. Looked like Adrian hit that ball well. He just got underneath it a little bit too much. Cespedes had an easy play to get back and get it. And generally, that's not the spot in the ballpark where you would see the wind tunnel anyway.
No, 2 outs. Jim Adduci takes strike 1. Adduci 2 for 2 this evening. A pair of singles. He's also walked. Scored the Ranger run back in the 4th inning. One ball and 1 strike. Adduci with that average now back up over 300, 303 currently. Remember, Jim got off to a great start this year for the Rangers. Before breaking that finger on his left hand, the little finger on his left hand, he was hitting 460. Rolls this one on one long hop to Sogard, the second baseman. And that'll do it. So Gregerson on a 6-pitch inning works a 1-2-3 against the Rangers. We're going to the 9th at Globe Life Park. The A's 5, the Rangers 1.
Set is tomorrow evening, 6:05 first pitch. Miles Michaelis on the mound for the Rangers, and coming off his first win of the season earlier this week in New York. So Rangers certainly looking to go into that finale tomorrow with back-to-back wins. Guys, this is brought to you by AT Uverse. Back to you, Buzz.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Brandon Moss and their teammates be back out here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, ready to go at it again. Now, Scott Baker has come on to pitch the 9th inning for the Rangers.
Well, Scott is a guy that you name the role coming into the season for a pitcher, whether you're in the rotation or whether you're in the bullpen, and there really isn't a spot in the game that he hasn't pitched in. He started, he's long relieved, he's short relieved, you name it, he's done it.
And on now, asked to get the 3 outs in the top of the 9th, give the Rangers a chance to do some damage here at home in the bottom. Brandon Moss goes after the next pitch, pops it up. Adrian Beltre, the lone Ranger on that side of the infield, puts it away at the shortstop position. Moss down on the pop-up. Now Josh Donaldson. Scott Baker, a 32-year-old from Shreveport, Louisiana, by way of Oklahoma State University. You're right, Tom. He has done everything you can possibly do on a pitching staff. I think every pitch in every kind of role you can ask him to. And he's really pitched very well. I think the hardest thing to do on a pitching staff is pitch long relief because you're usually coming into the game when things are almost on the verge of getting out of hand, and you're asked to put a stopper to it, and then pitch a lot of innings doing it. That pitch is popped up by Donaldson. Aaron Sebia, now Odor calling everybody out. Baker over there was going to take it, and he got called off twice, so he got out of the way.
Well, the right guy caught it. The other two guys, I'm sure, are perfectly capable of catching it. But when in doubt, let Odor get it.
Baker's calling it right there, and Aaron Sebia said, "No, you're not." And Odor said, "Neither one of you
and
is."
I'm not either. We both got called
That's
off.
right. Oh, 2 pop-ups, 2 out. Here's Stephen Vogt for his fourth time at the plate. He is 0 for 3. Rangers again in that overshift. Odor 45 feet out into shallow right. Vogt a strikeout, a fly ball, and he reached on an error. Makes that pitch a little bit low. 1-1 now. A's 5 runs on 6 hits. They have committed 1 error. The Rangers 1 run on 7 hits. And likewise 1 error. Belt high strike. 1-2. Baker to the wind, and back to the plate he comes. Pitch is fouled off to the left. Scribner and Sean Doolittle. Doolittle, of course, the left-hander. Out in the A's bullpen. Another 1-2 is on the way. Vogt ready, hitting out of that slightly open stance. Baker back to him. Vogt spoils it, slapping it into the seats. Vogt currently a .353 hitter. Again, Baker back to him. Up the middle, base hit. Elvis almost had him played perfectly, but ball hit very sharply just to Elvis's right and out into center, and there's the first hit of the night for Stephen Vogt. 1 on 2 out. Josh Reddick now will come up. You look up and down this lineup, and not taking anything away from the A's. I mean, the names are not household variety names, but they can all hit. It seems like, and Tom, you mentioned it last night, when 1 or 2 guys have an off night, somebody else is there to pick them up.
Yeah,
they just have that mentality.
They tend to get that big hit, no doubt about it. They used the long ball tonight. Only had 7 hits, but 4 of them have been home runs.
Reddick has 1 of those home runs. He's 1 for 3. Backhanded stop by Robinson Chirinos. A ball and a strike. Reddick a .237 average. Goes along with 5 home runs, 26 RBI.
Tonight, Nick was pretty much cruising along. The A's had not scored, and it was Jaso that got the big hit, the home run. It's only his 8th home run of the year, but it was the big hit in this ball game.
And that pop up to Elvis will do the honors of the last out of the top of the ninth. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Rangers coming to bat with Aaron Sebia, Martin, and Chirinos. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By AT&T UBurst TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event. Now playing at a Ford dealer near you. The Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the ninth inning there, trailing Oakland 5-1, despite having the same number of hits as the A's, and they will face the closer for Oakland, it's Sean Doolittle.
Well, Doolittle was an all-star, and the way he's pitched this year, he certainly deserved to be an all-star. He has blown 3 saves, but opponents hit 163 against him. He's given up some home runs, but very seldom does he walk anybody. The strikeout to walk ratio is actually pretty good, Buzz. 67-3. It's not too bad.
21-1. No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
The other number I like reading in their notes, he's thrown strikes on 498 out of 667 pitches. 75% of the time he throws strikes. That's the highest amount in the major leagues. No one throws strikes that's pitched a little bit anyway at a greater rate than Doolittle does.
Guess what the first pitch to Aaron Seavey was?
Strike one. He is a strike thrower.
And he is. JP 1 for 3 tonight. An RBI single back in the 4th inning. Other than that, has popped out and struck out. He pops this one up. That will reach the seats though. And the count moves to 0-2. Aaron Seavey hitting 154 now. It has been a productive 9 games since he has been back in the Ranger lineup. He's had 3 home runs and driven in some big runs for the ball club. 1-2. Doolittle sets, working from the extreme first base side of the rubber. That is high and tight. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Infield and outfield play Aaron Seavey well around to the left. Doolittle's 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Aaron Seavey starts the 9th by going down on strikes. And Leonis Martin pulled back to the Rangers dugout. Daniel Robertson coming up as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, Doolittle's got one of those fastballs, usually a mid-90s fastball, very hard to hit when he throws it up in the strike zone or a little bit above the strike zone. It's tough to pick up. 68 strikeouts in 47 innings tells you what kind of strikeout pitcher he is.
Here's Daniel Robertson, 278 the average, no home runs, and 10 driven in. Which is a little bit low for ball 1. Robertson has been getting the playing time in center field when an opposing left-hander has started. He's taken over for Leonis Martin when those left-handers get going. And he's here facing a tough left-hander and Sean Doolittle. 1 ball and 1 strike. Left-hander sets. And a chopper foul. 1-2. Robertson facing the team against whom he made his major league debut back on the 29th of April. Came in as a pinch hitter and got his first major league hit the next day on the 30th against the A's. Doolittle's next offering. We'll try it again. Robertson against Oakland this year, 4 for 14. And he's had some pretty good memories about hitting against the A's. Pitch is high. That evens the count now at 2-2. Daniel steps back in. Sean Doolittle reads the signs, picks one out. Popped up. Buto, the shortstop. 2 gone. They left up to Robinson Chirinos if the Rangers are to get something started here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Chirinos has grounded out twice and lined to right field. 0 for 3 tonight. First pitch from Doolittle. Chirinos 2 for 3 against Sean Doolittle in their previous matchups. One of those two, a double. He takes that pitch low, 2-0. Norris flashing the signs out. Doolittle ready. And 3 balls and no strikes. Well, Chirinos trying to get aboard here with 2 outs. Rangers have replaced Rougned Odor in the on-deck circle. Adam Rosales, the veteran right-handed bat, he's come out and he's loosening up.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to qualify this as being wild for Doolittle. 14 pitches, 7 balls.
Yeah.
He throws 75% strikes on the season.
Might have heard you.
Yeah. chances of him walking somebody in this kind of a game are pretty slim. Considering he's only walked 3 guys all year.
3-2. Robinson doing what you have to when you're down by 4.
Yeah, got to take.
Make him throw you 3 strikes. Doolittle ready. The payoff pitch is on the way. We'll try it again. Chirinos at 227 with the average as he faces Doolittle. Trying to get aboard any way he possibly can, and Doolittle trying to close out this game for the Oaklanders. Again, the 3-2. Robinson not making it easy on him.
Well, went to 3-0. He's thrown 4 straight strikes since then. As he tries not to walk a runner, a batter.
One more 3-2 pitch. Doolittle may have to get into double digits here quickly. This is the 9th pitch coming up, and it's inside, ball 4.
There you go.
Did walk him. Chirinos coaxing that walk out of Doolittle. And the Rangers still with life. 1 on, 2 out. And Adam Rosales will come up as the pinch hitter. Conference out there very quickly. Rosales, of course, a familiar figure to both these clubs. He was back and forth last year like a ping pong ball. Being claimed off waivers 4 consecutive times, 2 by each club. He's up there hitting at 250 for the year. Doolittle fires strike 1. Rosales only one at bat against his former teammate. He's 0 for 1. Chirinos not being held at first. Rosales swings through a fastball from Doolittle. 0-2 now. Rosales this year with the 5 hits in 20 at bats. One of those a double. 0-2 pitch. Popped up behind home plate. A play for Derek Norris, and that will do it. Well, the Rangers get a walk in the 9th inning, but can't do anything. They will go down to defeat the Oakland A's here in game number 2. This series is now dead even at a game apiece. The final tonight, the A's 5 and the Rangers 1. Well, tomorrow we'll set up a rubber game for you at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Well, up at the Captain Morgan Club, Rick Renner, Mac and Pudge will wrap things up for you right after this.